1, 2, 3, 4. Hot cross buns, hot cross buns. 1 a penny, 2 a penny, hot cross buns, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hot cross buns, yeah, yeah. Hello guys, Sebastian here again for Yes You Can. Another Easter is upon us. And I can't wait to teach you the most iconic dish that we make during Easter with our families, with our friends, with our kids. And this is the Easter edition made with the Yes You Can gluten-free plain flour. Nothing says Easter better than actually biting into a soft, chewy, delicious bun with beautiful fruit that's actually adorned like jewels and a lovely little shiny glaze over it. That to me is the perfect celebration of Easter, and nothing better than to do it with this. So the first thing you need is we're going to get 1 orange and we're going to zest it. Tap that into the bowl. You've got a nice bit of zest in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add your fruit. So I've got about 120 grams of raisins and about 20 grams of mixed peel. Add that into a bowl. And then we're going to take that same orange that we actually zested earlier, and then we're just going to get the juice of it into the actual bowl. So squeeze that in. And what's going to happen is as you add the juice, it's actually going to plump up the fruit. Remember, this fruit actually is dry, you see, so this just gives a bit of a kick. That's what you want to do. Oh, I love that. Just get the muscles going in the morning. Just give it a good squeeze. There you go. Just mix it up. Yummy. And leave it aside for some time until it actually starts to plump up. So for the next step, you need your dairy products. This is what's going to give it that nice, rich texture to the actual chewy bun. For this, you're going to need 100 ml of milk, full fat. That's actually about 38 degrees Celsius. You can zap it in the microwave or use a pot to warm it up for you. Don't get it too hot though. And that goes in. Followed by 85 grams of unsalted butter. That goes in as well. You want to make sure that's actually soft as well. And then you want to be adding about 80 grams of sour cream. Mix that in, and what's going to happen is the residual heat is going to melt all this up together. Start mixing this up very, very gently, as you can see. Now you're going to add the perfume, and I call it vanilla, as you all know. So 15 mils of beautiful organic vanilla paste that goes in. And finally, you've got to add the zest of that orange that we just did a bit earlier. So add that in. Oh, this smells so good. I mix it up, and as you can see, it just gets into a lovely, beautiful mix. If you find that it's not mixing really well, don't worry. You can always just put it back on the pan if you wanted to, but I think it's pretty perfect. I like it. So for your dry ingredients, you need that special gluten-free flour, which is obviously the iconic Yes You Can brand. So I'm going to use 440 grams of that gluten-free plain flour. That goes into the bowl. Then I'm going to add my sugars. I've got 40 grams of the brown sugar. That's going to go in. And then I'm going to add what I refer to as my cinnamon sugar, which is 38 grams of caster sugar and 2 grams of cinnamon, just to give that nice, beautiful aroma. That goes in as well. Then I've got all my wonderful spices. So I've got 1/4 of a teaspoon of cardamom powder. That goes in as well. Then I've actually got my allspice. So in here, I've actually still got my fresh nutmeg. But in the allspice, what I've got is my clove, which is about 1/4 of a teaspoon. And I've got 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So that goes in. And once I've added that, I'm now going to grab my zester and I'm going to whack in the freshly grated nutmeg. You only need about 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg, but that freshly grated spice is beautiful. That's what's just going to lift it up. So here you go. Add that in. I love it. That's perfect. That's done. And the next thing we actually need is yeast. Now with the yeast, I'm using instant gluten-free yeast, which is fantastic. I've got about 7 grams of that. Now what you want to do is don't try and plonk that on top of the spices. Keep it on the other side of your bowl. So I'm going to just put it on this side. And what's going to happen is when I start to knead, and I'm going to add that 38-degree milk, that's going to just help kick that yeast into gear. So all you got to do now is grab a nice dough mixer like this, and I've already got it good to go. Get a little pen hook, that's fantastic. You want to actually add that in and you start to spin. Before you add the wet ingredients, just let the dry ingredients mix for a couple of times. The spices, the yeast, all of them just mix well, and that's when you can begin to start adding in the remaining ingredients. So I've got 2 more things to add in this recipe. I've got my smoked vanilla salt. Now if you don't have smoked vanilla salt, you can actually just add normal sea salt flakes, and you're going to add 1 55-gram egg, a whole egg. So that's really it. So you're just going to wait for a couple of seconds. I'm just going to increase the speed a little bit so it actually mixes well. And if you find that it actually pushes to the side too much, don't worry, just take it up again, grab a spoon, and just push it all to the center again. And that way you'll notice that actually all the spices and everything combine really well. Doing this step now really pays great dividends at the end, so you have a nice, well-mixed fruit dough. There you go. Couple more seconds, and now we can start to add in your wet ingredients one by one. So first thing I'm going to do is, remember, we're going to add the milk, the zest, the vanilla, and the sour cream. All that goes in now. So you want to just stop that speed for a bit, and you want to add half of it now, and we're going to mix it at a low speed to start with. So remember guys, the YesYouCan flour has no gluten. So the idea is to mimic gluten, and it's actually got some mixing agents that actually help mimic that gluten. So what we're trying to do is, by using the wet ingredients, we're going to combine all those flours that are in that gluten-free flour to be able to get into a nice, beautiful mix. I'm going to increase the speed now, and I'm going to add the remaining of that mix, just like that. And straight away you can actually see the dough coming together. Now I'm using a spatula, so I don't want to have any of this wasted. I've got all that lovely zest. I've got all that beautiful milk, and I love it. That looks really, really good. Now to this, we're going to add some sea salt flakes. I would say a pinch. A nice, good little pinch in there. And we're going to add 1 egg. So I'm just going to break the egg here so I can trap any of the shells. And you want to whack that in. That's coming together really nicely, as you can see. It takes a bit of time, that's okay. Just be patient and it will come together. It will come together. So as you can see, the dough is now coming off the side. It's not sticking as much. And this is a good indication for you to now add that fruit mix. Just lift it up again and just add the entire mix to it. A few more minutes here. Start slow. Build the fruit in. I am so happy with that. Just look at that mix. It looks absolutely beautiful. We're going to do the next step, which is to actually knead. So I'm just going to take it off. Don't lose any of that mix that's in there. So I've got the dough ready. The cool thing about the YesYouCan flour is that it comes actually in a 500-gram pack. So you've got that extra 60 grams to play with. So I'm just going to get my flour surface ready to go. I'm just going to flour it a little bit so you've got that space to actually knead your dough. And now get your hands nice and floury. And you want to just get that dough out. So just let it come out easily. And all I'm asking you now to do is just get that flour in, not too much. You don't want to add all of it. Just see how much you need and just give it a mix so that it just forms into a nice shape. And you are going to now do your first proof. You're going to get the first rise. So all I'm asking is for us just to give it a gentle knead, not too much. Mix it up so it doesn't stick to your hands. Just make sure all that flour is incorporated. And once it's done, you are actually good to actually put it into your bowl. So just nearly there. If you have never kneaded before, just use the edges to be turned in, just like that. That way you can have all of that fruit mixed well, and you also get a really, really nice shape. So there you go. I'm happy with that, the way it looks. Grab your bowl, put that in the center, and what you want to do is just wrap it in Glad wrap, or if you've got a damp cloth, and you want it to be at about 25 to 28 degrees Celsius. So that's a good temperature to be at. If you've got a really good sunny day, or you've got a proving chamber, you can just go into the proving chamber, and that's actually perfect. There you go, leave that for about an hour. It will double in size, and that's when you can start rolling the dough into shapes. So while we're waiting for the dough to actually rise, it's a good opportunity to actually get your other components done. So why not get the actual cross paste ready? This is what's going to help you get those beautiful crosses on the actual hot cross bun. So for this, I've actually got 80 grams of the YesYouCan flour, which is going to go in. And then I'm going to be adding about 120 ml of water. So I'm just going to add that in little by little. And I'm going to use my spatula to actually turn that into a really nice paste. And once it turns into a lovely paste, all you're going to be doing is adding that to a little piping bag. So I'm just going to add the remaining. Keep mixing as you go. And you're going to get this, what we call a slurry, that actually turns finally into a paste. And all I'm doing now is just pouring that into a medium-sized piping bag, just a bit like this. I've just got something to hold it. And all you want to be doing is just let it drop into this piping bag that you've got here. Now you've got a bit extra, and the reason why I've actually made extra is because in case you don't get it right the first time, you always can actually have a bit extra with you. Just lift it up, just like that, and just twist it, and you can actually keep that ready for your next step. So for the glaze, which is going to coat that beautiful, delicious hot cross buns, I've used some apricot jam. You only need 30 ml, so my advice for you is just to heat it up and then strain it, and that's what you've got. To that, you're going to add about 15 ml of vanilla paste. And then we're going to add 20 ml of just water. Add that in. And then give it a good mix. And this becomes your glaze. And you can just keep this ready to go at room temperature. As soon as you are ready to take it out of the oven, your glaze is ready. Look at that. That is perfect. So for your final component, what you'll be needing is just an egg wash. Very simple. 1 tablespoon of cream and just 1 egg. This is what's going to coat the buns before it goes into the oven. And the glaze is going to be actually coated after it comes out of the oven, which you will see soon. So you want to break an egg. I'm using a 55-gram egg. And all you want to do is just slightly beat it up. And just add the cream to it. And all you've got to do is just give it a slight mix and keep this ready with a beautiful pastry brush. So the dough has been brewing for the last 60 minutes. Let's have a look at this. Oh, this smells so good. Look at that. That is absolutely fun. I'm ready. So the next step is we're going to take the dough out, and then I'm just going to flour my hand a little bit. I'm just going to let it just come onto the surface that you've actually got prepared over here. And what we're going to do is this dough will make about 12 luxurious sizes, roughly at about 70 grams each. So I'm just going to cut this dough into half. There you go. Oh, that is absolutely divine. That orange just kicks in that wonderful citrus goodness, which is lovely. So I got my weighing scale on, and I'm just gonna get this, shape this a little bit so it makes it a lot easier to cut. So let's try and get 70 grams. Just need a bit more. It's beautiful. 70 grams. Just gonna cut a couple more. Just need a bit more over there. Perfect. So I've scaled the dough, and I've actually got 12 beautiful buns ready to actually roll. So I'm going to teach you how to roll them. All you've got to do is pick your dough up and just start to bring it together to the center, right? And then just use your palm, place it down, and then begin to just roll by shaping it. Just cup it. Hold it, cup it, and then keep turning it in a circular motion. And you're going to get that really nice shape. You can also use your hand like this, like the way I'm showing you. That also works as well. Just bring that all the way in. Sometimes if you've got like a little raisin sticking, push that in, cover it, and just roll it again. Because what you don't want is for the raisin to burn in the oven. There you go. That's one right there. And now once we finish rolling it, we're then going to be having the secondary rise. There you have it. There you have your 12 rolled and shaped YesYouCan gluten-free buns. Now we're going to cover it, and we're going to actually put that to proof for another 1 hour, maybe an hour and a half. As long as it's doubled in volume, I'm happy. So the buns are ready after their second proof. We're going to check it out. Oh yes, that looks perfect. Now while this has been happening, everybody, I've also preheated and I've brought the temperature of the oven to about 190 degrees Celsius. It's very important that if your oven takes longer to heat up, just make sure you've actually got that oven on early. So just want to make sure in case it's moved, I love it, it's great. I'm now going to brush the Easter buns with my egg wash made with cream and egg, if you remember. Don't press too hard. You don't want to overly douse this with the egg wash, but just want to make sure that every part of the bun actually has been coated well. This is what's going to enrich and give it a beautiful color that you want. So I'm just going to run these lovely crosses over each other, just like that. Just start from the top and just go over just like this. Don't worry if it's not perfect. And once you've done that, you want to go the other direction. This looks perfect. I love it. So, as soon as it comes out of the oven, my big advice for you is to actually just put them onto your cooking rack and just pick them up like this. If it's too hot for you, just grab a spoon or a towel to help you. Just rack them up on this cooling rack, and now we're going to begin to glaze. These look so delicious and so yummy. Right. And now we're going to begin to glaze. So remember, this is the apricot glaze I taught you how to make earlier. Give it a bit of a brush so you got all the ingredients mixed up really well. And when it's hot, it's the best. So start with the one away from you first. Oh, look at that. This is what you want for Easter. Just a bit of good, delicious one. Guess what? Gluten-free hot cross buns. Once you've actually coated your hot cross buns with the apricot glaze, my advice for you is have it straight away or just wait for a couple of minutes, especially if you've got kids. Well, there's only one thing left to do, which is to taste these little goodies. So let's have a look, eh? Oh yes. Oh, they smell perfect. Now it's time to do a taste test. Got some really nice unsalted butter over here. Just liberally brush them while it's nice and hot. Look at them just melting on the actual hot cross bun. I've got a beautiful cup of espresso. These are just beautiful, and I think that's the beauty of the YesYouCan products. You know, even though you are gluten-free, you still don't miss out on these beautiful cheeky treats like an Easter hot cross bun. Well, get your friends, get your family, get them around a table and bake for them using this beautiful product. Happy Easter, everybody. And don't forget, at the end of this video, you're going to be able to find a QR code which will take you directly to the recipe onto the website of YesYouCan. And I hope you enjoy it. Take care.